Saw dudes, I just completed the Deep Archimedea and Elite Deep Archimedea missions the other night with the full amount of modifiers. This video will share my thoughts on the mission, as well as some general tips. In the background, you will see the equipment I used, then gameplay from each segment of the mission. By the way, this video is off the cuff, so not a lot of planning went into it. This is just getting my thoughts out so that people know what to expect. Now let's get started. To unlock Elite Deep Archimedea, you will need to complete a Deep Archimedea mission with 25 research points, requiring all points from loadout and personal modifiers. I highly suggest unlocking the Elite mode if you can stomach it, since it can drop Tau Forge shards and legendary melee arcanes. Anyways, let's talk about the mission itself, shall we? I think it's pretty good in its current form and introduces a challenge level that Warframe has been lacking for a long time. This mission type forces you to use weapons and warframes that you may not use often, which then forces you to make a conscious decision about your playstyle, modding, and gameplay. On one hand, this will put every piece of equipment you bring into the mission to the test, as well as your modding ability. However, if you are chasing the highest tier of rewards, you might find this to be incredibly annoying. You will either not own the weapons or frames required for the highest tier of rewards, or not have the resources necessary to mod them correctly. Other times, the equipment just won't even be that great in the mission, so using it would be a death sentence. This was the case for the Axani, which was one of the secondary weapons I could have used. I think an easy middle ground to these issues is to increase the possible equipment options to 4. This still puts players at the mercy of RNG, but can be slightly more forgiving. I was thinking of a reroll system, but that could be easily abused or just downright stupid. Now, the difficulty of the missions is something that I think DE did extremely well. Usually the game is a mindless gorefest, but now gameplay requires neuron activation. It's pretty fun if you're up to the challenge. That being said, the fun factor can be easily wiped away by the modifiers, which can range from, oh, that's not so bad, to, DE is crucifying me upside down for their own sadistic pleasure. You need to play according to the modifiers, not against them. If there's a modifier that reduces passive shield regeneration, maybe don't rely on passive shield regeneration mods. On the right, you'll see some of the modifiers that can be applied. Some are easier to deal with than others, but keep in mind that you should apply all of them that are available to you if you want all of the rewards possible. Speaking of the difficulty, you will need to slow down just a bit. I literally had to hug corners and treat the game like a Rainbow Six clutch moment. The minute I lost all of my shields or got the energy ripped out of me, I started clenching my cheeks and hoping I would clutch up so I don't look like a failure. By the way, I only went down twice in Elite Archimedea, not to flex. But yeah, take the combat slowly. Don't just charge in, especially against necromechs. So what about team composition? This is super important since I feel that raw DPS can only get you so far in this game mode. I feel that support frames shine the most in Deep Archimedea since they provide team-wide benefits and prevent deaths. I was lucky enough to get Harrow as one of the required frames for awards, but was also very lucky to get teamed up with a Citrine, who provided additional damage as well as passive healing. Having a Harrow, Trinity, Wisp, or Citrine makes life a lot easier. The healing, damage resistance, and crowd control they provide are amazing, and make dealing with necromechs a lot easier. I would go as far as to say that having a frame with Nourish on the team is nearly mandatory, given how important abilities and energy regeneration are to Deep Archimedea. Next, I want to go over some of the modding tips that you should consider when going into these missions. Let's start with the Warframes. One of the mods I would consider to be great for this mode, especially, is Rolling Guard. The 3 seconds of invulnerability and status cleanse is insanely important, since revives are hard to execute. For example, if you're on low health and get smacked with a toxin, heat, electric, or slash proc, you can roll to prevent your death and get to a better position. As for weapons, for the love of God, mod them correctly. Use endurance setups as much as possible, and do not skip out on Bane mods like I did. If you are using a slash damage over time setup, you will need the Bane mod multiplier, since it increases the slash tick damage by 69%. Trust me when I say that your runs will be a lot easier and you won't be shooting yourself in the foot. Anyway, the rest of the video is just gameplay footage, meant to give you an idea of what to expect. I hope you guys enjoyed the new game mode, and I hope that DE dials back some of the nerfs to Nezha's Augment and Dante's Kit. As always, thank you for watching, and happy farming.